Now, coming to Akbar's policy, as I told you, Abul Fazl wrote Akbar Nama, and the last volume, it's not Abdul Fazl, it's Abul Fazl. Abul Fazl. So, Abul Fazl, in his 3 volumes of Akbar Nama, the third volume was Aine Akbari. And this books was dealing with Akbar's administration, army, revenues, geography. Okay. So there is a word Kotwali. You might be having a Kotwali near you, Kotwal. So this word has come from this information only. Same word is still under in 2021. It's still under use. So whole of the empire, he is right. Abul Fazl writes that it was divided into different provinces. Right, we have different you know states and district. Like this, it was divided. Whole empire is divided into provinces which were called as subas. Suba. Different provinces. Empire was divided, called as subas, and one will be the subedar, the person who governs or who is holding all the responsibilities of this area is Subedar. He will do all the political as well as the military functions. Political as well as the military functions. Right now we have Mukhya Mantri, like we have Chief Minister. Same way. The military military, because it was all about fight, power, warrior, all these. So military was also very important. So political and military functions were assigned to a leader of the Suba, that is Subedar. Now, one person cannot do it, so there will be some people who are going to support them. The first one, see, there are certain names you need to keep in mind. Wazir Diman, he was the head of the revenue department. Bakshi, he was the head of the military department and the paymasters to the Mansabdar. The Qazi, he was the chief judge. Chief Sadr, he was the supervisor of the royal, the household. Then we have Wakil, he was the head of the advisory board. So there were certain names. In a province, let me tell you that there is one person who is called as Diwan, and he was actually financial officer. Right now we have account officer, or all the financial related, or we have a financial department today in every office. So we have financial officer, he was Diwan. Okay, Diwan. Along with this, we have different kind of people, diverse people were living, different castes were there. So there may be some peace, law and order, certain things will happen. In order to maintain this peace and order, law and order in this Suba or province, the Subedar was supported by their other officers also. Other officers. So what were they called? You have the other officers. Let me name these officers to support this peace and order also, because peace, law and order. First thing is financial master. Financial master was Diwan. Subedar, then we have financial master Diwan. Then the military paymaster, that is the payment who is doing, the military paymaster, responsible for paying and keeping records, is Bakshi. Military paymaster, Bakshi. Okay, that is, he was responsible for the payments of, depending upon the soldiers, etc., to the Mansabdars and provinces. And that person who was responsible, or who was a minister or the chief of religious and charitable patronage, that is dharmik or dharmarth, dharma or dharmarth, religious and charitable patronage, he was called as Sadr. Sadr. And military commanders were called as Faujdars. There will be, like Senapati, there will be military commanders also. So we have military commanders called as Faujdars. These are military commanders. Similarly, we have police commanders. We have station police officer, station house officer right now, SHO. So the town police commander will be called as Kotwal. This word I was mentioning, Kotwal. Okay, police commander was Kotwal. So these were all the officials who were helping the Subedar to run that province efficiently, and the way Aini Akbari presented in a very good governance way. It was an example. Now let me tell you about Jahangir. Now Jahangir, she is Mehrun Nisa. Before marriage, she was called Mehrun Nisa. After marriage, she was called as Noor Jahan. Noor Jahan. Mehrun Nisa, then Noor Jahan. And they got married in 1611. And after that, she became Noor Jahan. And she was very extremely loyal, loving, supportive to Jahangir. So Jahangir, he had certain coins. That is, one side titles, both the titles, name of Jahangir and name of Noor Jahan. That is, there was an inscription proper, like struck in the name of the Queen Begum Noor Jahan. So how much infiltration, how much effect, how much Noor Jahan has impact on the Jahangir style of administration, the Mughal emperor, it is seen by the inscription he has given. So you see the document, it is, an order, Farman of Noor Jahan. There are certain seal, square seal for the states. There is command of her most sublime and elevated majesty Noor Jahan Padshah Begum. So she was there. Now Akbar, the Abhijat were the nobles, the big people. They have big armies. They are commanding large armies. So all these big armies, that is why they were getting a lot of revenue. They have access to a lot of money, revenue, tax, kar. Now those people who are so much influential and powerful, they will send the money. They have an empire, so they can spend the money. So they will make their own network. They will have their own, an independence, right? So if a person who is very outskirts to the empire, Delhi or Agra, now these will have their own network. They will want to get independent. They will have their military power and wealth, etc. So because of their self-interest, in order to get powerful, in order to grab land, in order to grab the big area, this is how the downfall, or you can say shaking of the empire took place. Let me tell you, very important thing, Fatehpur Sikri. And this was made as the capital, but soon it was changed, Fatehpur Sikri. So, there was it is not actually a masjid, but it was a ibadat khana. Ibadat khana. Now, ibadat means praying, like namaz, like puja, archana, like praying to the god. This ibadat means this one, and khana means a part, a place, like a gym khana. It's ibadat khana. So what he did in his Shasan Kal, in his reign, there were different kind of people, diverse people. So there were different religious people, and their leaders also. So he called these different religious leaders. That is, he called everyone. He left no one. That is ulema. That is the Islamic scholar, religious scholar, Islamic religious scholar. He called Brahmins. He called the Christians, the Catholics at that time, especially the Portuguese, and the Parsis, Zoroastrians. So all faith, all religion, he called them. And there was a huge discussion, long discussion. So Akbar wanted to know what is the good thing, what is the custom, what is the culture, what is the idea, what is the background, everything about these religion. So what he got out of all these marathon discussion was, this is a picture I am showing, that it is going on in the Ibadat Khana. So what he concluded, the conclusion was, that is why everyone was thinking that this religion, my religion is best, other religion may not be good, it's bad. So there was matandata. Matandata means dogma. That is, if I say you something, you follow it without logic. If I tell you that the earth is square and you just believe it, okay? Today's we have majority government. Whatever they say to their people, they accept it. They don't have logic. They don't put any logic in front of it. And especially in the one religion, they channelize people, you know. So this is dogma. That is matandita. People just follow. They don't have any logic. They don't show any logic. And these people who are matand, they are dogmatic. They becomes bigots. Become bigots. That is, they become kattar. Kattar. That is, you have seen people, you know, there is a trend that there is a major community in our India. It is just trying to, you know, do everything with the minority community. They will say anything to the minority community. They will say any word. They will kill them. Whatever is going on. So these are because they have become bigots because of the dogma. That is the religious people have taught them that this is right, this is wrong, and that is how they are thought. So Akbar thought, I have big empire, this much big empire. If people are fighting, if the people because of religion they fight, what will happen to my empire? So he had this idea. So he thought what to do. He has to do something. So he did. He created or he formulated. He devised a kind of religion. It's not just a religion. It's called an idea to live. That is Sulh-e-Kul. Sulh-e-Kul. That is, if persons have a problem, they will come and do sulah. That is compromise. Sulah means a compromise between the two people coming together and accepting each other's idea in a very, say, conducive way. So Sulh-e-Kul, sulah means universal peace. It's universal peace. In my empire, in my land, every religion has to, everyone has to believe, respect the other one. If you have a Bhagwa Vastra, orange you are wearing, you don't need to kill the green wearing people. That's not religion. Religion is respecting others. Religion is all about respect, all about peace, all about honesty, all about justice, all about peace. So this is how the Akbar idea came into being, that honesty, justice and peace should be the basis of a religion or any religion. Other things, whatever religion says or any dogmatic thing it says, you don't need to become a bigot. Okay? So don't point any community, don't try to say that this community does not belong to it, this India, just send them, and all these things are not good. So this Sulh-e-Kul and Abul Fazl was very helpful in framing a vision of this governance, all the governance around Sulh-e-Kul. That is why everyone was happy. Every religion person was happy in this.